Good afternoon, teachers and Year 6s. I'm Krishnavi from 6I.
And I am Nidhi from 6I. We would like to welcome you to the first ever Year 6 Climate Change Summit.
In IPC, we have been learning about climate change and how it affects the different biomes of the world. We know that this is a very serious problem facing our generations and solutions are needed.
That's why we are here today, to discuss problems and find solutions. We will now hear from each class about the chosen biome and the climate change effects it faces.
Remember, you have to be listening to each class so that you can note down the main threats to the biome on your summit note sheet.
You will also need to record some of the solutions each class proposes so that you can make your climate change pledge at the end of the summit.
First up, we'll hear from 6B with the forest biome.
Welcome to 6B's presentation. Climate in the boreal and taiga forest. The climate is cool and windy. In the summer, the climate is warm, rainy, and humid. Winters are freezing with a lot of snow. Climate in the temperate forest. The summers are mild, about 21 degrees. Winters are well below freezing. But luckily, plants and trees are specially adapted to survive this biome. Boreal temperate forest location. The boreal is the largest biome in the world. It covers Canada, Alaska, and other United States. It covers most of Finland and Norway. Temperate. The temperate forest is found between oceans and Arctic regions in the place of widest seasonal change. Most of these forests are found in the eastern United States, Europe, China, Japan, and parts of Russia.
Trees in the forest. The trees in the taiga forest are evergreen. The leaves are sharp and thin because they don't want water evaporating much. If the water evaporates, the leaves will change colors. The four main types of trees that live in this habitat are pine, spruce, birch, and fir. Trees in the temperate forests are basically opposite of the trees in the taiga forest. The leaves are wide and bigger. The four main types of trees that live in this habitat are maple, oak, birch, and beech.
Facts about the boreal forest. The big amount of fires there help to get rid of all the old and sick trees. There are not a lot of different plants in boreal forests. Most of them are coniferous plants. The trees there are evergreen, so they remain green the whole year and don't lose their leaves. Facts about the deciduous forest. This forest is subdivided into 5 zones. The zones depend on how tall the trees are. They receive between 30 to 60 inches of rain per year. The leaves change color with the season and then fall in winter.
Introducing some of these amazing creatures that lurk around in the forest. Red fox. They eat berries, frogs, birds, rabbits, fish, and worms. They live about 12 to 18 years in urban areas and usually 3 years in the wild. You can find them in temperate and deciduous forests in China, Japan, Europe, east of North America. Cicadas. They live in tropical forests, temperate seasonal forests, desert scrub. Depending on the species, a cicada might emerge as often as 17 years but die 6 weeks later. 5-line skink. They can live up to 6 years, and they're mostly in the USA. Broad-winged hawk. They live about 12 years, and they live in deciduous forests, and they travel south to tropical forests during the winter. White-tailed deer. If they live on their own, then they can live to more than 20 years. But if they live as a couple, then only 15 years. They live mostly in North America. Bobcats. What they do in day and night. In the day, they rest in their dens in the form of rock, crevice, and hollow tree. And in the night, they come out and hunt or play. They live mostly in the North America, also found in southern Canada and in parts of Mexico. Snowy owl. They live in North America, Alaska, and Canada. Raccoons. They live in Canada and South America.
The box turtle can be found in America. The beaver. The beaver's habitats are streams, lakes, and ponds that cross North America. And sadly, beavers have once almost been hunted to extinction. Salamander. You can find the salamander in America, Asia, and Europe. All salamanders are poisonous. Its habitats are rivers and caves, and its lifespan is 50 years. Night adder. The night adder's lifespan is 15 years. It is poisonous, but it does not kill humans. You can find them in eastern Africa. Its diets are frogs. Its habitat are wet and dry forests, and it is the fastest striking snake in the world. Grizzly bear. The grizzly bear's lifespan is 20 to 25 years. It lives in North America, and it has been endangered for the past 44 years. Its diet are berries, fish, dead animals, deer, and grass. Lynx. The lynx's diet are mice, squirrels, and birds. How do they hunt? They hunt by leaping at their prey and killing it with a bite to the neck or head. Their habitat are mainly in the temperate zone of the forest, and their lifespan is 7 years. The red-sided garter snake. You can find the red-sided garter snake mainly in America. Their lifespan is 2 to 4 years, and they are venomous, but their venom does not kill humans. Moose. The moose's habitat is in Canada, USA, and Europe. Its lifespan is 15 to 25 years. Its predators are wolves and grizzly bears. And I bet you didn't know that only the male deer has antlers and they can grow up to 6 feet wide. The surf scooter. The surf scooter's diet are mollusks and insects. They live in North America. Snapping turtle. The snapping turtle's diet is plants, insects, spiders, worms, and fish. Their average size is 28.5 centimeters, and they live in lakes, streams, and ponds that cross North America. The northern hawk owl. The northern hawk owl's habitats are Alaska, Scandinavia, and Canada. Its diets are voles, mice, squirrels, and weasels, and their lifespan are approximately 10 years. The Blanding's turtle. The Blanding turtle is an omnivore, meaning it mainly eats fruit, meat, and fish. Its habitat is in the USA. Painted turtles. The painted turtle size is about 8 inches. It lives in America, and again it is an omnivore. The grey wolf. The grey wolf lives in Europe, Canada, and Asia, and its diet consists of deer, elk, and bison.
All about trees in the forest. Today we are here to share all about some fascinating trees to you guys. There are really many deciduous and boreal trees on the forest. Today we are going to talk about 5 and some fun facts about it. Maple tree. The lifespan of the maple tree is 100 till 400 years. Honeysuckle. There are more than 200 species of honeysuckles. They were discovered in 1906 by the Japanese. Caribou moss. Caribou moss usually grows on the ground and rocks. Pine tree. The lifespan of the pine tree is 100 till 1,000 years. Every country that has 4 seasons have pine tree. Colorado blue spruce. The only place that the blue spruce are native is Rocky Mountains. Introduction.
In this 5-page slideshow, we will show you some amazing trees, so follow me and I will tell you the information of them. First one, oak tree. Oak tree grow in a cool tropical forest. They can live 80 years. American mountain ash. You can know American mountain ash by seeing the white flower or the red berries, depending the time of the year. Elm tree. In the world, we have 30 to 35 types of elm tree. They originated from Central Asia. Aspen tree. Aspen tree can grow from 3 feet to 8 feet per year and can grow 49 to 98 feet. You can find them in USA, Canada. Red spruce. It's used for pulp, making paper, and used for burning things like coal. You can find them in the Newfoundland. Cherry tree. USA is the most biggest country produce cherry. Normal cherry tree can live 20 years.
These are some problems and solutions facing the boreal and temperate forests. We will tell you about them and what we can do to help. Acid rain. What is acid rain? Acid rain is a chemical reaction which occurs when two harmful substances are released into the atmosphere.
What can we do to stop acid rain? We can use less electricity, not turn on the AC for a long time, and also less screen time will help a lot. As the world can, stop using vehicles that use oil, since it is also one of the reasons that creates acid rain.
As roads and cities are expanding, animals are losing their home, which can lead to extinction of species or huge number of species lost.
To stop urbanizations or to consume less, buy less paper and wood products, donating would help too.
Non-native species. The problem of non-native species is that when animals are brought to places where they are not supposed to be, it can severely mess up the food chain and disrupt the natural cycle.
So what can we do to stop non-native species? We must not transport predators to deal with specific species pandemic. We must not import animals from other countries into the wild. And finally, let civilians legally exterminate non-native species that are known as pests.
Illegal animal trade. Illegal animal trade is when animals are being sold like pets at a cheap cost, which can lead to extinction and overpopulation of other animals.
The solution to illegal animal trade is simply stop buying endangered animals, even if you want it, and warn people who sell the animals to stop selling illegally.
Pollution. Acid rain is a byproduct of pollution, and pollution can also kill plants, trees, and affect humans.
To stop pollution, we can not throw rubbish in the forest, move away from fossil fuels, stop smoking, use unleaded gasoline in your cars, keep your car properly maintained to keep it in good running condition, and share a ride and engage in carpooling.
Logging. Logging is when someone cut down trees to make furniture and equipment like pencil and paper. This can lead to habitat loss.
What can we do to stop logging? We can use less paper or recycle paper and use it again. Then loggers won't have to cut as many trees. We would save 17,000 trees.
Mining. Mining can cause deforestation and loss of habitat. Sometimes fracking is induced, which can even terraform the landscape.
So what can we do to stop mining? As a school, we cannot use plastic, not buy crayons, Check components of products before buying and not use too much shoe polish. As a world, we can not sell or buy chewing gum, nail polish, wax candles, and tires. What could we use instead of shoe polish? Vegetable oil and olive oil, banana peel, vinegar, and petroleum jelly.
Climate change. Climate change can create forest fire, insect outbreaks, or invasive species, which are all really dangerous.
The solution for climate change is to stop cutting trees, use less fossil fuels, try to be vegetarian, and try to use more LED lights than light bulbs.
Deforestation. Deforestation is when trees are cleared to make way for mining and ranching.
This is what we can do to stop deforestation. Stop cutting down trees in large areas. Plant new trees where old ones were cut down. Create protect areas and promote sustainable bioenergy.
Insect outbreak. Insect outbreak can cause diseases, which will disrupt the food chain and can lead to a lot of species loss.
To try and stop insect outbreak are to change things in the habitat to discourage the insect. Avoid using pesticides or introducing a predator. Grow different crops.
Overhunting. Overhunting is when animals are hunted so much that they are pushed almost to the brink of extinction. Some animals have even been known to go extinct because of this.
And finally, what can we do to stop overhunting? You can donate through the WWF's Black Ranger to help people who are determined and people who try hard to stop poachers. Or you can host a fundraising group to help the Environment Agency to stop poachers or try to stop overhunting.
Please help us protect our planet.
Well done, what a wonderful presentation. Thank you, 6B. You'll now have 1 minute to record any last information about the forest biome on your summit sheet.
Are we done? Stop. Is it all done? Okay. Yes? Okay. Our next presenters are 6 High to tell us about the threats that the tundra biome is facing.
Good afternoon, fellow climate enthusiasts. We are a non-government organization formed by 6 Sides to help to save the tundra and its wildlife. We are Tomorrows for Tundra. In our presentation, we'll be talking about the threats to the tundra as well as the solutions that could benefit the tundra. The problems in the Arctic are global problems. They will affect us all and it will not stop by itself. So it is time, the help is now. We hope this presentation will teach you about the importance of the tundra biome and influence you to help the tundra with either big or small solutions.
The tundra biome, one of the most harsh and remote biomes on Earth, is known for its freezing temperatures. The tundra biome has 2 different types of areas, alpine and arctic. The alpine tundra is located high above the mountains, in heights so high that trees could not grow. Alpine tundra is found near the Rocky, Alps, and Himalayan mountain ranges. Contrastly, the area of the Arctic tundra exists near the Arctic off the coast of North Canada, Greenland, and in northern Scandinavia and Russia. The Arctic tundra is home for different animals, such as the Arctic hare, the Arctic fox, snowy owls, reindeers, lemmings, and of course, polar bears, plus other animals. What makes the Arctic tundra so different is that the biome has a special layer underneath the soil called permafrost.
It is a mix of rock, sand, frozen, and ice. This is where the biggest threat of the climate change lies.
You might ask, what is permafrost? Well, permafrost is made of rock, soil, and sand, which covers most of the tundra biome. Why is permafrost a problem, you might ask? Well, permafrost is a big deal because many northern villages are built on top of permafrost. You can imagine what will happen if it melts. Most importantly, however, is that 1/3 of the world's soil-bound carbon is in tundra permafrost. If the permafrost melts, it releases lots of CO2, which, as we all know, is bad for our planet. Also, if permafrost melts, it can release old bacteria and viruses, which can be deadly for animals and humans. Did you know that scientists have found 400,000-year-old bacteria in permafrost? Melting permafrost is creating global warming on our planet, which is terrible for the plants and animals who live there. Plus, the landscape of the tundra will drastically change, which would be devastating for the wildlife. It could also lead to a complete disappearance of the tundra biome. Stop releasing CO2 in our planet and save the tundra.
Next, I'm going to tell you about the ice caps in the tundra biome and how the fact that they're melting is a serious issue for us all. This serious issue is caused by the increasing of greenhouse gases such as CO2 and methane. If the ice melts, the sun will reflect on the surface of the ocean instead of the ice. This will make the temperature of the ocean higher, and this will affect the creatures that live in the ocean and those that depend on these creatures, humans. Melting ice can also change the ecosystem of tundra, which will make many precious animal species and the millions of people who live in this biome. In addition, if the ice melts, the sea level will rise, which makes some of the places sink and sometimes flood. This will affect the whole world, not just the Arctic countries. Even Vietnam is at risk of flooding. Global warming can change Arctic and other areas of the world, vanish forever, and we will not be able to go back if it happens. We must act now.
One of the other threats to the tundra biome when there is climate change is suffering animals. The changes to the ice caps and the tundra biome can cause species like polar bears, Arctic foxes, Arctic wolves, etc. to lose their homes. However, climate change in the tundra biome can impact animals nowhere near the cold. When the ice caps melt, the water in the ocean rises and floods coastal areas. This can take away the homes of the animals who live in those areas. Did you know 35,000 walruses were found on the coast of Alaska without homes because of the ice cap has melted? 35,000, that's way too much. Other animals, including fish, are also migrating due to the climate change. This can severely affect food chains, including ours. No fish means no food for many communities. Polar bears are also severely affected by climate change as they hide on ice. If all of the ice melted, then it means that polar bears have no food. Starving polar bears can disrupt the Arctic food chain, which can cause animal extinctions. Polar bears are dying and need help. We must fight climate change.
Oil drilling and the fracturing of oil damages the tundra biome and is causing climate change across the globe. The Arctic is the main source of oil in the world, and as we are very dependent on oil, we are constantly looking for more. Hydraulic fracturing, also known as fracking, is a way of extracting minerals. The extraction often combines dangerous chemicals, including methane. Extracting oil means more greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. It also causes great disruptions to the animals in the area. Once the oil is extracted, the problems continue as it can ruin an animal's habitat if spilled. Oil spills from pipeline leaks and shipping accidents can pollute the sea, and there is no proven method of cleaning oil from icy waters. Oil drilling is a threat to the tundra biome and should be stopped. This is one of our first proposed big solutions.
First big solution to help and save the tundra biome is to move towards 100% renewable energy. As you have heard, greenhouse gases increase the levels of CO2 in the world, and these emissions come from our dependence on fossil fuels like oil. Governments around the world need to move towards 100% renewable energy. Renewable energy sources are solar panels, wind turbines,
and water-powered electricity. Using renewable energy sources like these means we don't have to burn fossil fuels or plastics, which will produce more CO2 and melt ice caps on our planet.
The second big step to saving the tundra biome and the world is to tell governments to lower or even stop their carbon emissions. The Arctic countries have been trying to do this, but they are not doing enough. Tomorrows of Tundra have also found out that Vietnam is thinking of moving towards using coal as the source of power. This is the opposite of what is needed. Carbon emissions must be lowered and fast.
Small steps and changes can also be made to limit climate change. One of the easiest ways to limit climate change is to use bikes or to walk for transportation. Because cars and motorbikes burns fuels to move, and it makes a lot of bad chemicals and carbon dioxide. Another thing that we can do is to limit the use of airplanes. This might be a little bit disappointing for travelers, but when the airplane is landing, it releases vapor and loads of carbon dioxide into the Earth's atmosphere. And do you in fact know that the meat industry is responsible for 15% of carbon dioxide created by humans? Making thoughtful choices at mealtimes, like eating less meat and dairy, and choosing local food can help decrease this number. Finally, knowing about a problem is the first step to fixing them. Share what you've learned with others and pass on the message that we need to act now.
From all this, we, Tomorrows for Tundra, need to stop the huge problem of climate change and save our world. The tundra is in serious need of help. You're the one who caused it and the one who needs to stop it.
If we do something, we can change the world, but if we do nothing, we will destroy it. This is why we need you to do something. The ice caps are melting, the permafrost is melting, the oil is leaking, and all these animals are dying. These are the problems we will solve. Do it now or never.
What a cool biome, Tuksai. Thank you for telling us about it. We have to save that biome and help the earth. What do you think, teachers and students?
Next up is 6S with the rainforest biome.
We are the Union of Rainforest Conservationists, and we are here to tell you about why we shouldn't and why we should help the rainforests. What is a rainforest? A rainforest can be described as a tall, dense jungle. The climate of the rainforest is very hot and humid, so the animals and plants that exist there must learn to adapt to this climate. The consequences of rainforest destruction. The immediate impact of deforestation occurs at the local level with the loss of ecological services provided by tropical rainforests and related ecosystems. Such habitats could have humans' valuable services such as erosion prevention, flood control, water filtration, fisheries protection, and etc., etc. These are particularly important to the world's poorest people, who base on natural resources for their everyday survival. Forest loss also reduces the availability of renewable resources like timber, medicinal plants, nuts and fruit, and etc. Over the long term, deforestation of tropical rainforests can have a wider impact, affecting global climate and biodiversity. These changes are more challenging to observe and forecast from local effects, since they take place over a longer period of time and can be difficult to measure. The reason that logging is so bad for the climate is that when trees are felled, they release the carbon that they have been storing into the atmosphere.
where it mingles with the greenhouse gases from other resources and contributes to global warming accordingly. 32 million acres of tropical rainforest were cut down each year between 2000 and 2009, and the pace of deforestation is only increasing.
Differences in deciduous forest and rainforest. The rainforest and deciduous forests are similar in many ways, like how they are basically a large area covered by trees. There are some differences. Rainforests are located near the equator, while the deciduous are located in the mid-latitude, which are cooler than rainforests. Also, deciduous rainforests experience all 4 seasons, while rainforests don't experience much at all. More sunlight can get to the ground in a deciduous forest than in rainforest because the plant and tree growth is not as dense. So there is plant life on the ground here as well.
Plants in the rainforest that cure diseases. Cordon killer, a spiked pepper which can cure diseases such as heart diseases and others. Wasai, great for kidney health. The root of the wasai tree is often ground up and prescribed as a diuretic. The pacho, 70% of plants with anti-cancer properties exist only in the Amazon, and this is one of them.
The Yanomami tribe have lived in the Amazon rainforest for hundreds of years. There are around 25,000 tribes and they live in a group of between 50 and 400. They live in harmony with nature and currently occupy an area bigger than Austria. We want you guys to know that deforestation is causing the people of the Yanomami tribe and also other tribes to lose their home. The main threat of the rainforest is logging of the wood and for the land. The gold miners shot them, destroyed villages built by the Yanomami tribe and exposed them to disease, which they did not have immunity to.
The world's rainforests are disappearing at a rate of 6,000 acres per hour, about 4,000 football fields. When these rainforests are cut down, the animals and plants are destroyed again and put more species at risk of extinction. Rainforests also provide us with many medicinal plants and could cure many diseases and some even cancer. Some of those plants may as well disappear. Do you want to die from these diseases? Or even have cancer?
Climate change. If climate change keeps on going, rainforests will turn into savannas. And once they turn into savannas, there is no point of return. Or, if they do not turn into savannas, there will be more intense drought, leading to forest fires. This is very bad, because rainforests aren't supposed to burn, which really suggests their name, rainforest. Another bad thing is that if rainforests burn, then there will be less rain. Then there will be food shortages and crops will dry and die out. Climate change in rainforests will massively affect the world's biodiversity and climate. I think we should keep rainforests because of the animals living there. Imagine your home was destroyed from deforestation.
That would be really bad. Plus, there will be no more trees to breathe in the CO2 and make oxygen. So we humans will start dying. And all I'm trying to say here is that if this continues, we humans will die, even cockroaches. Let me ask you, is your pot of Nutella more important than deforestation? Because Nutella contains palm oil that leads to deforestation. Because palm oil is deforestation is needed to make palm oil.
In the last decade, the amount of cutting down trees have been increased from 3.5 billion to 7 billion. That is deforesting 919,000 square kilometers of a rainforest. What made humans cut down this much amount of trees? First of all, making paper, building something on that land, to make furniture, to mine for gold, to drill underground for oil, for land development, to use as firewood, and last but not least, to make money. Like Alex mentioned, climate change is a serious problem, and by most accounts, deforestation in tropical rainforests adds more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere than the sum total of cars and trucks on the world's road. According to the World Car Free Network, cars and trucks account for about 14% of global carbon emissions, while most analysts attribute upwards of 15% to deforestation. What can we use instead of trees? There are plenty of useful materials to make instead of using wood. Vaccines can use as bees, furniture, and fuels. Hemp has multiple uses such as cars and fuels. Cork can use for flooring materials. Straw can crack into pressed and wood products.
These are some endangered animals in the rainforest. Chimpanzee, leopard dogs, three-toed sloth, owl, and fox.
As you can see, a lot of the species are endangered critically. Species are already extinct because of us cutting down trees. Deforestation can lead to a direct loss of wildlife habitats as well as the general degradation of it. The removal of trees reduces available food, shelter, and breeding habitat. 137 species of animals are becoming extinct each day, which adds up to 50,000 species disappearing every year due to deforestation. If you don't act now, 10% of the world's species will die out within the next 25 years.
What can we do now?
We can choose to buy environmentally responsible products.
We can say no to deforestation.
We can create a habitat for migrating animals.
We can contact the government, protest, and insist on change.
And most importantly, share the information with your friends.
Thank you for listening.
Wow, that was amazing success. Let's move on and see which biome we might have to save next.
Here is 6B presenting about the polar biome.
Antarctica!
Presented by 6B.
Facts about Antarctica, the white continent.
Antarctica is located in the South Pole. It's known for being the coldest, windiest, and driest continent on Earth. As many people know that Antarctica is famous for having a lot of ice, the ice covers 98% of Antarctica. It's made up of thick sheets of ice, which are called ice sheets.
What's affecting Antarctica's environment?
How does global warming affect Antarctica?
Because the temperature in Antarctica is rising, the ice is melting. The effect on the ice melting can make the global sea level rise. If the global sea level rises, it can affect people's homes. The global sea level rises over the coastline. Scientists have measured that in the past century, the global sea level has risen by 10 to 20 centimeters.
Why we have to protect Antarctica?
If Antarctica melts,
The sea ice will rise by 17 meters and will cover all the coastal cities. Animals will lose their lives because of us. Antarctica is a beautiful place, hostile, remote, and uninhabited. Us children didn't cause this problem, but now it's up to our generation to fix it.
What is climate change? Climate change is a change in the world that affects living things. For example, krills and other wildlife. It affects the earth dramatically. Living creatures slowly die. People cause this because they have been polluting the air, producing too much carbon dioxide. And now it's the next generation to fix this problem.
Krills provide food for most all whales, some seals, ice fish, and a few penguins. Krill eat the algae that grow on the bottom of the sea ice and phytoplankton, a small microscopic plant that lives in Antarctica. They may be small, but krill play a giant part in Antarctica's food chain, and they are disappearing fast. Seals actually need sea ice for protection from predators, and the sea ice is melting.
How can we help these living organisms from climate change? First of all, we could donate money to the organizations which are helping Antarctica animals. Secondly, we could stop creating pollution, as well as we could also stop eating meat. And finally, we could learn the effects of climate change on the animals as much as possible.
The average temperature of the inner section of Antarctica is minus 57 degrees. Around the coast of Antarctica, the temperature is minus 10 degrees. Since the 1950s, the temperature has increased by half a degree every 10 years. That means it would have increased by nearly 3.5 degrees Celsius. In 100 years, the temperature would have increased by nearly 53.5 degrees Celsius.
Birds living in Antarctica.
Fun facts. Whilst 35 species of birds can be found living in the south of the Antarctic circumference, only 19 of these species actually breed in Antarctica. Because of the relative lack of snow-free nesting grounds, most of the Antarctica seabirds breed in very large concentrations. The wandering albatross has the largest wingspan of any bird in the world, with an average of 3.1 meters. Antarctic skuas are fiercely predatory birds and will attack anyone or thing that ventures too close to their nest. This trait has earned skuas the nickname Raptor of the South. Sheathbills will literally eat anything they can get their beaks on. They not only eat fish, krill, and other plankton, but mammal carcasses, penguin eggs, penguin chicks, and occasionally penguin feces.
Climate change. Climate change is dramatically affecting Antarctica and its living organisms. If the ice melts, the plants growing on ice will disappear. Also, plants are starting to bloom earlier than normal. The greenhouse gases, which are released from lots of big factories, do not let the plants grow as well as they would in its normal environment.
As you can see, krill is the main prey of most of the Antarctica's animals. You can take a look for yourself, and yeah.
Krill rely on sea ice for food and shelter to live, and by now, climate change is making sea ice melt. So if all the sea ice melts in Antarctica, all the krill will die. Because of this, most of the krill predators will be affected, and these are its predators that eat over half the krill: whales, seals, penguins, squid, and fish. Climate change melts sea ice, and krill depend on sea ice to live. And the predators of the animals who eat the krill will also die because the food is dead, and so on.
As a child, I think it's unfair how we have to fix this problem when we didn't start it. Now it's up to the next generation to fix this, and we didn't start this devastating problem. With little time, I don't think we're gonna make it. But we should at least try. There's a chance we could fix this horrific problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Yang Dong.
And I'm Kai Sing.
Thank you, 6B, for this wonderful presentation. Now we will introduce 6N. Please give them a round of applause and remember to take notes.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our desert biome presentation. We are here to tell you about the different animals and plants living in the desert. We will also tell you about the ways that climate change is affecting the desert biomes and offer you some solutions to preserve this amazing biome. What is the desert biome? The desert biome is an ecosystem that forms due to the low rainfall it receives every year. The desert biome covers about 1/5 of the planet's surface. There are about four major types of biomes in this, four major types of deserts in this biome. Hot and dry with dunes, semi-arid with shrubs and small bushes, and coastal near the water, and cold like Antarctica.
In the northern hemisphere, there are lots of different deserts. Some of the most famous ones are the Gobi Desert, the Arctic Desert, and the Great Basin. Near the equator, there are the Sahara Desert, the Arabian Desert, and the Great Sandy. In the southern hemisphere, there is the Antarctic Desert and the Patagonian Desert.
Many types of plants and animals have adapted to the harsh environment of the desert biome. Plants such as cacti have changed to have either long roots to reach the groundwater or shallow roots to get water on the surface. Animals such as the fennec fox is small and has light brown fur to blend into the desert sand. Like this, animals have adapted to the harsh desert environment and is able to survive there. Furthermore, for many generations, people have also lived in the desert. These people are called nomads traditionally. These people move from areas to areas, depending on grazing opportunities and water.
Desert animals are a big part of the desert's ecosystems. They vary from dominating camels to small tortoises and foxes. These animals are in danger of human interruption and climate change. In the next slides, we will show you some of the animals that thrive in the desert.
How can the camel survive in the desert? Camels have adapted and found ways to help them survive in deserts. They have a thick coat of hair that protects them from the sun. They have wide, soft feet that help them walk for a long time in the hot sand. When there is food and water, a camel can eat and drink large amounts and store it as fat in its hump.
Gila monsters are heavy-bodied lizards covered with bead-like scales that helps with camouflage. Its claws are used for digging burrows and for digging out other animals' eggs. Its tongue helps it to hunt and to receive information about its surroundings by picking up the scents in the air. They can also store fat in their tails. The Gila monster is mildly venomous.
How does the thorny devil survive in the desert? Thorny devil will move slowly to avoid predators like snakes and dingoes. It usually camouflages by staying still like bushes. Female thorny devils are usually slightly larger than male thorny devils. Their diet consists of only ants. They have another defense mechanism, which they inflate their chest with air to make themselves bigger and harder for a predator to swallow. Any water that lands on its body can be funneled through small holes in its mouth.
Nocturnal desert animals keep cool by being active at night, whereas some other desert animals get away from the sun's heat by digging underground burrows. Some other common adaptations seen in desert animals include big ears, light-colored coats, humps to store fat, and adaptations that help keep water.
There are many different types of plants as well, varying from cacti to bushes and trees. Throughout the centuries, these plants have adapted to the harsh and dry environment of the desert. Here are some examples of the plants that live in the vast desert biome.
Succulent plants such as cacti, aloes, and agaves beat the dry heat by storing plenty of water in their roots, stems, or leaves. When it does rain, succulents absorb a lot of water quickly. Agaves are used for things such as the drink tequila, agave syrup, an alternative to sugar. They have thick, sharp leaves and usually live for 10 to 25 years. Prickly pear, also called nopal, native to the Western Hemisphere, is promoted for treating diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, and hangovers. Some evidence shows some prickly pear cactus can decrease blood sugar. People with type 2 diabetes. The leaves of the prickly pear are usually flattened and are paddle-like shaped. The fleshy pads are actually modified branches or stems. The flesh of the prickly pear can be used to make jam, jelly, sherbet, wine, and cactus candy. Some people eat the seeds in soup or dry them to be grounded up into powder.
The saguaro cactus is one of the plants of the Sonoran Desert. These plants are large, tree-like cacti that develop branches as they age. Although some never grow branches, it can live up to 150 to 200 years.
It is hard to imagine that global warming would have much effect on the world's already hot deserts. But even small changes in temperature or precipitation could drastically impact plants and animals living in the desert. In some cases, global warming is predicted to increase the area of deserts, which already cover a quarter of the earth. Human activities such as firewoods, gathering, and the grazing of animals are also converting semi-arid regions into deserts. A process known as desertification, creating roads as transport links and using animals and medicine and for sport or decoration, are also harming the desert biome. These activities take resources and habitats away from plants and animals. Human activity often changes or destroys the habitats that plants and animals need to survive.
Global warming and climate change are also causing drought. This drought affects the growth of vegetation due to the rainfall decreasing yearly. In addition to this, the wildfires are changing the landscape of the desert, causing desert animals to once again struggle to adapt to the harsh climate in the desert. So, what can the world do? As well as helping to manage climate change by reducing the use of fossil fuels and being more aware of the environment, we need to control the direct effects humans are able to make on the desert biome. How? By preserving the natural habitat by using existing water resources more efficiently. Find new ways to rotate crops to protect the fragile soil and plant sand-fixing bushes and trees. Growing more plants, which extract nitrogen from the air and fix it into the ground, can help restore soil fertility. Make the law stricter against poachers who endanger the lives of desert animals every day. People can also use off-road vehicles only on designated trails and roadways and dig artificial grooves in the ground to retain rainfall and trap wind-blown seeds. Only eco-travel companies to be used when visiting desert biomes. But what can we do at BIS? How can we help this amazing biome? You can make sure that you don't turn off the tap when you don't need it. During brushing your teeth, for example. Don't buy anything made from endangered animals. Turn off the lights and aircon when you don't really need it. Recycle whenever you can so that we don't use fossil fuels. Car share, ride a bike, use solar-powered items. And remember, every little thing helps. It is your...
That was an amazing presentation. I learned a lot from the information. 6 and thank you. Now let's introduce 6H for their turn. Give them a big round of applause.
The marine biome is the largest biome in the world. All 5 oceans and seas are included in this biome. It covers about 70% of the Earth. The deep sea is home to more than 80% of living things on our planet. The marine biome contains the Earth's most important organism, algae. Algae supplies much of the world's oxygen, and without it, life could not be sustained. Kelp is also a very important resource for the sea life. Kelp forest provides a habitat for a variety of invertebrates, fish, marine mammals, and birds. It can grow up to heights of 50 meters. The ocean is a big influence on the weather. Heat from the sun warms the surface of the ocean. The marine biome can be separated into 3 different zones, which are distinguished by the amount of sunlight they receive. The surface water and shallow water are the warmest, and many life forms live there. We can also find coral reefs in the shallowest part of the ocean. In the mid-depths, other creatures live. There is a weird and wonderful creature living in the deepest parts of our ocean.
One of the major threats to our oceans is plastic. Many people treat the oceans like a rubbish bin. The result is that the equivalent of 1 truckload of plastic is tossed into the ocean every minute, making 8 million tons a year. The life forms that live there suffer because of it. How would you like it if a dustbin lorry came to your house and dumped all of its rubbish into your living room? The Maldives, an amazing place to visit for a holiday with clear sapphire sea. As you can see here in this picture, the water is blue and clear, but behind this beauty, there is something devastating. In this outlook picture, there is an island called Tila Fushi. This is an island made of plastic. You don't want to see this when you go to your next holiday in the Maldives.
Pollution's many forms. There are lots of things in the ocean that shouldn't be there. By 2050, there will be more plastic in the oceans than there are fish by weight. The rubbish, mostly plastic, that we throw into the sea are eaten by fish, which are eaten by other fish, which are eaten by other underwater marine biospecies. These fish are then caught by fishermen, which are sold, cooked, and eaten by us human beings. Do you really enjoy eating plastic? Hopefully for your health's sake, not.
The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a collection of marine debris in the North Pacific Ocean. The marine debris is litter that ends up in the seas, oceans, and other large bodies of water. It is caught in the water currents. It forms because currents near the center of the northern Pacific Ocean move around in kind of a circle, which catches and holds floating pieces of plastic. It is now 2 times bigger than France.
Global warming also presents a problem into the oceans. Temperatures are rising, causing the ice caps to melt, and polar bears are dying because there is no ice for them. In the next 100 years, these places will disappear. The Maldives, Fiji, Tuvalu, and the Cook Islands. Factories dump their toxic waste into the sea or river, which creates more pollution. Factories give off dangerous and noxious gases such as carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, which causes global warming. Because the Earth's population is growing rapidly, there is more and more demand for food. As a result, we are overfishing and are taking too many fishes out of the oceans. This affects the food chain heavily.
Coral bleaching. The reason why corals bleach is because of stress caused by changes in conditions such as temperature, light, or nutrients. Warmer water temperatures can make coral bleach. Any changes in the temperature will make it bleach.
Hey, you got any spare fish? Cause I'm starving.
Oh, sorry. Oh my, it's a polar bear.
Don't need to worry. I won't eat you.
Why are you here?
Long story short, I lost my home and I was trying to find a new place to live in.
But why?
Well, it's because my home's melting away.
Oh, I feel so bad for you. And I think it's because of the global warming.
I think so.
And also, I haven't been catching much fish. Do you think it's because of the global warming too?
Maybe. Wait. What is global warming? Global warming is when the Earth's temperature rises, which causes ice caps to melt and some countries slowly disappearing. Well, I think I need to go now. I hope you will find a new home.
Thanks, and I hope you find some fish to catch.
As you have heard, the marine biome is a wonderful habitat. However, us humans have had a negative impact on the underwater world. And so now, the only thing which can be done is to take action by some of these solutions. Global warming. There are more and more factories every single day, producing a mass amount of pollution. This causes global warming. To make sure that our oceans don't continue to suffer, we must find a way to reduce the amount of pollution from factories. Factories should find a way to manufacture in a more environmentally friendly way. As well as this, products should be biodegradable and shouldn't take thousands of years to break down.
Sustainable fishing. Sustainable fishing means leaving enough fish within the oceans, ensuring that there is minimal impact on the environment and fisheries are managed sensitively.
Adidas has started to produce shoes which are made from ocean plastic as their new project. Yes, plastic from areas like the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is to be turned into items such as shoes. Adidas has made a pledge that by 2020, they will make all their shoes from reclaimed plastic. Boy and Sat from Holland realized the negative impact that humans are having on our oceans. He created a device which easily cleans out all of our oceans. And they clean up the garbage patch using money collected from the cleanup charity.
Scientists are solving the plastic crisis by recycling plastic into crude oil. Technicians and engineers from Japan and United States have invented a machine which can turn plastic into oil.
Plastic is complex, meaning it has long chains of molecules that do not dissolve in water. Scientists have discovered a bacteria called Ideonella sacchensis which can digest plastic in as little as 10 days. Moreover, scientists are predicting that plastic bottle making companies will be a thing of the past because of the destruction these hungry microbes do. Recycling. With a concerning amount of plastic bags around us, our school has a making plarn club. Plarn is short form for plastic yarn. It is made from strips of plastic tied together to make a long strand which can then be knitted. It can be made into comfortable, cheap fabric with great patterns. It can also be made into bags and slippers. Speaking of ways to improve the environment, supermarkets in Thailand have invented an eco-friendly bag made from banana leaves. Simple yet effective.
There are even more ways to protect our marine biome as individuals and by simple actions. Educate others and spread awareness about the situation. Volunteer to help cleanups within your community. Third, think about the effect of your actions and how it will affect the marine life. And finally, support organizations which will help with ocean conservancy.
Upcoming plans. Here is some terrific news about plans that humans have for solutions to marine pollution. The Vietnamese government have decided to build 15 amazing-looking coastal parks as part of the Vietnam 2020 resolutions. This will prevent fishing in and around these parks. Britain has banned free plastic bags, and across the country, and Peru now discouraged and banned single-use plastics. Actions like these are essential to restore our oceans.
We hope that you have learned something from the information we have shared with you.
It is important for us all to do everything we can to ensure the future of our Earth by keeping our seas and oceans clean. Thank you.
That was a spectacular presentation, full of interesting facts, 6H. Now let's introduce 6C. Remember to keep listening for the threats to our world. Give them an enormous round of applause.
Savannah, where is it? What is it? What lives there?
Just look at the many happy animals living in the savannah. Unfortunately, in 20 to 25 years, the savannah will be turned into a land threatened by drought and fire due to global warming and the lack of water available in the savannah.
Answer that. Animals have listened, and you have listened.
There are two types of savanna. The tropical savanna is in Africa, Australia, India, and South America. Temperate savannas are in Eurasia, South America, and North America. In the wet season, the savanna only gets 25 inches of rain compared to Vietnam's 197 inches of rain.
What lives there? The savanna has a large variety of animals, such as lions, zebras, impalas, hyenas, and many more. Most animals thrive in the rainy season.
The savanna also consists of a wide variety of plants. There are gum acacias, whistling thorns, and more. These plants are specifically adapted to survive in long periods of heat.
In the savannah, Bushmen and Maasai live there. The Bushmen have lived there for more than 10,000 years. The Maasai tribe normally breed sheep, farm, and they trade. They farm flour, rice, and cereal.
The habitats of plants and animals are being reduced by a major amount each year. The greenhouse gases play a big role in this change as well because it makes the environment hotter, which leads to less water. This means that animals living there will also die.
The effects of human activities such as pollution and overpopulation are driving up the temperature through the greenhouse effect.
The greenhouse effect is as the atmosphere gets thicker around the Earth, less heat will escape the Earth when the heat from the sun continually hits it. Unstable water systems could dry up water holes and life-giving rivers. We can stop this climate change by reducing our carbon footprint. Ways we can help the savanna. We can reduce the amount of plastic we use. Plastic is made in factories, which makes greenhouse gases. This causes the temperatures of the Earth start to increase, getting hotter and hotter. Other ways we can help the savanna are sharing transport like school buses and shared cars. This will reduce some of the CO2 in the atmosphere. Even better, ride a bike to school if you live close enough.
Make a pledge to save the savanna. You can help save biomes around the world, such as the savanna, in a number of different ways. Keep the greenhouse gases in our world down by
share transport when possible.
Limit your use of electricity to when you really need it. Use less plastic.